again so that that doesn't happen. And I will have the principal go and talk to that student. So that's weird. He's never done anything like that before. So I apologize, guys, for that rudeness. No idea why he would do that. Maybe he's having a bad day. That's weird. Or like someone in his family probably like took his account. I want to say that that wasn't him, but we don't know, or at least I don't know because I don't know his voice. So some of your guys' voices, like, you guys are gonna have to come and visit me and be like, hey, I'm so and so next school year, because I have no idea what you guys look like, because I don't think Sebastian is LeBron James. That's LeBron James, right? So yeah. So guys, you're going to see an assignment. It'll I'm gonna be posting it here in like 5 minutes. Probably. I don't know. But I can check it and see. Like someone's saying maybe they just used your name and it was somebody else. I can always check it because it checks the email that's attached to all of your guys' assignments. So I'll check and see if that actually is him. So thank you for reminding me that. Donica's having issues like with audio, so let me kick her out and bring her back in. But you guys will have an assignment, an exit ticket that looks just like this. And then again, all you're gonna have to do, I'll be posting it right now, but over here in the corner, it'll say, once you click on view assignment, it'll say private message or private comment. Just send me a message that says, yes, I'm good, I understand, or I'm good, or I have a question, and then say your question. Again, I would rather do this. I'm not getting on anyone's case. I just want you guys to be mindful. And a lot of you guys have never been taught how to look at your guys' grade, so you don't even understand why a grade is the way it is after like turning in something. And especially right now, the next few weeks, you guys missing one assignment will greatly impact your grade just because we don't have that many assignments. So just be mindful of that. It's no big deal. But I'm gonna stop talking. I will share the link to this assignment in chat here once I've posted it. And you don't even have to wait till the end of the period. You can just go in there once you guys understand that, all of that stuff is good. All right. Ms. Gomez, on you.
Yes. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and take over, and we're going to be continuing where we left off on Tuesday on your notes for slope when we were practicing that rise over run. I am dropping that link to the Classic Notebook right in the chat. And I will start sharing right over here. Okay, so okay. Can you guys see that? Because on my end, it's not highlighted like it usually goes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, thank you guys. So I dropped the link for the Classic Notebook right in the chat, but you also want to know how to get there whenever you're looking for your assignments. So that's always in Google Classroom. When you click on classwork, all of your assignments are here again. And what's really cool is that they're even numbered for your homework assignments. Like for example, today we will be working on homework assignment 3 and homework assignment 4. It seems like a lot of homework, 2 assignments in one day. These assignments are pretty short though. And it is everything that we're practicing in class, and we're actually going to spend a little bit more time on homework assignment number 4. So you shouldn't have too much to do. Just remember, these assignments are due on Monday, so you have plenty of days to complete them. Just don't let them pile up to where you're running behind. So click on that link. That'll take you to your Classic Notebook. I'm going in through Google Classroom just to also show you guys how you can get there through Google Classroom. Make sure you are logging in, or if you didn't log in the first time, that you're typing in the name exactly the same way as you did before, so that all of your work is saved. All right. Remember, my work didn't save because I didn't follow my own directions. No, I'm just kidding. But the first 2 pages we completed together, and then we started working on page 3 and finished that page. So page 3 should have been completed. And while you guys are getting there, I want to point out one thing that's going to be helpful to you going forward. You're going to see some stickers from us. If you say a sticker that says fantastic or awesome, or if you have a little check mark on it, then that shows that we see that that page is completed. Okay, so a completed page should have everything that we did in class together, which this is how this third page should be looking. This is a completed page or notes for slide 3. You will see a little Bitmoji sticker that lets you know if it's completely done. If it's not completely done, then there's going to be a sticker, I believe, that says like good job, but you're not quite done. And we'll let you know too of what's not done. If you want to get full points, you'll go back and actually complete the whole thing. All right, so this is page 3. So really quickly, what were we doing on Tuesday? On Tuesday, we were talking about our slope. How do we find slope when we have a graph? We look for rise over run. We think of directions. How do we get from one place to another? In this case, how do we go from one point on the line to another point on the line? So here we can go, we looked at the purple point and we said to get to that blue point, I have to ask myself, am I going up or down? And how many units? We went up 1. Then you want to ask yourself, am I going to the side? Oh, so we said we can't go to the left side. That's not going to get us to the point. We have to go to the right side. So if we go to the right side, that gets us to that blue point. Going right is positive. So what you want to be really mindful of is your directions. Moving up is positive. Coming down is a negative rise. If you're running left, that's a negative run. If you're running to the right, that's a positive run. Always be mindful of these signs, and that should always get us a correct slope. Most of the time when students make mistakes on slope, it's their negatives or it's their positives, but they usually end up getting the right number. All right, here we're just gonna go ahead and erase these little pieces because I realized that we had the pieces down here. Our rise here was a -2 and our run was a +1. If you have them written down, you can keep them as being written down, or if you prefer to drag the little pieces over, that also works. So for this slide here, I'm just gonna zoom in a little more and I'm going to show you, because I got this question in a reflection from one student from the last period, and I thought it was a very good question. Let's say I pick 2 other points, this point here and this point here. A student asked me, are we ever going to be running to the left? Are we always running right? You can run left or right depending on which directions you decide to take. So I think it's always helpful to go from the left point to the right point. So here's the point on the left, here's the point on the right. So I would be going down over 1 this way, but if you don't want to go down over 1, you prefer to go right to left, that's fine too. As long as you still keep in mind your rise is on top and the run is on the bottom. So let's take a look and see what happens if I do decide to use this point to get to the left point. So I'm gonna go from this point here, which means my rise is 1, 2, up 2. Up 2 means that is a +2. Then I will have to run to the left. This time, running to the left means that is in the negative direction, and that is a -1. So some of you might be, well, are those different, or is it still the same slope? This is still the same slope, and I notice that when I write rise over run. In this case here, my rise is a +2, and my run is a -1. So now I still have a 2 being divided by a 1, which is still 2, but I have a positive divided by a negative, which is still a -2. So does it matter if I go from left to right or right to left? It does not. It doesn't matter. But if you're a person that doesn't like to divide negatives by negatives or positives by negatives or negatives by positive, if all that confuses you, going from the left to the right is going to be helpful in that case. But notice we still get the same answer if you decide to go from the right point to the left or from the left point to the right. Okay, so that's just some more explanation here. This one should be completed already. All you need to show is this step here, or if you'd like, you can include that step there too. But it helps to see how they are still the same. So give me a thumbs up if you're good up to there. We're going to work on this together here. Give me a clap if you need some more time on this section, or if you are not quite understanding this part. We're still going to look at another example. Okay, thank you guys. Okay, so let's look at the bottom example here. We have another graph. This is our line here. You want to start off with your first step, pick any 2 points on that line. Simple step, but a very important one. You don't want to pick those points in between. We don't know. We can figure it out, but it's more of an estimate. This is a decimal. That's not going to be very helpful. So pick those lines, those points that are in those corners here. We have many, many to choose from. It is up to you what points you want to use. You don't have to use those same ones I'm using, as long as you pick 2. But another trick that I want to let you guys know or be aware of is if you pick points that are too far away from each other, that's a fraction you're going to have to simplify. If I picked points that were really far away from each other here, I would have to simplify that rise over run. If you like simplifying fractions, you can go ahead and pick points that are far away from each other. I don't want to take an extra step of simplifying fractions, so I will always try to find points that are closer to each other. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to pick, let's say I'll pick that point and this point, those 2 points that are next to each other. Do you have to pick those 2? No, again, you can pick different points. So we did our first step of picking any 2 points on the line. I'm moving on to the second step. How much does it go up or down? So that is my rise. I'm going to pick my pen mode again, and I'll pick the red. Do you have to use the red? No, but again, I like to keep it color coded for you guys to actually pinpoint the different steps that I'm taking. If it helps you, also pick the color red to see if you're right, how much you're rising. I'll start at this point on my left, and I'm gonna ask myself, how much do I have to go up or down to get to the second point here? Well, if I go up, that's not really going to get me to my point, so forget about going up. If I go down, that's also not going to get me to my point. So if I'm not going up, if I'm not going down, then I'm actually not rising, and that is a 0. That's a rise of 0. I don't have to go up, I don't have to go down. So I'm moving on to the third question. How much does it go side to side? Do I go left or do I go right to get to that second point I picked? And I can go over 1 to the right. So here's my question to you guys. If I'm going to the right, give me a thumbs up if that's a positive run. Give me a clap if that's a negative run. So if I'm going to the right, thumbs up for positive, clap for negative. What do you guys think? Couple of thumbs up, only about 2. So that is a positive 1. Again, here are your directions. If I'm going to the right, that is a positive. So that means we'll bring over our positive 1. And since you have a rise and since you have a run, you're ready to write your slope. our slope was, our rise was a 0. We didn't go up or down. And we did run a positive 1. We ran 1 to the right. So that just gives us 0 divided by 1, or 0 divided by positive 1, it's just 1, equals 0. So our slope here is our 0 slope. And that makes sense. Think about your types of slope that we talked about. If you have a flat line, okay, that's when like your heart beats at 0, then that's a 0 slope. All right, this is the way the completed notes look for this slide, page 4. So we do expect to see your work here on the graph. We do expect you to do that if you want to get full points. So all of these pieces should be in the correct spot. You should be writing down your slopes. You should be showing us rise over run on the graph, and that would be full points for this page here. So if you were following along, but you couldn't work on the Classkick side because of your connection issues, go ahead and take a screenshot of this now. And for those of you that were working along with this, give me a thumbs up if you're good on this page. Give me a clap if you would like more time to finish it up. Thank you, guys. All right, good job. I see some of you actually using the red and green, looks wonderful. If you're sticking to one color, don't worry, that's fine too. I can see that you guys are showing me your slope, so very, very good. Okay, so I am going to give you guys about 3 minutes to work on the Your Turn page. This is just practice for you. Let's see if any of you are struggling with finding your rise over run and then writing it as your slope. So 3 questions, and I'll show you how to complete this. Notice there are green boxes here. We want you to tell us separately those steps. What was your rise? What did you have to do? Did you have to go up or down to get from one point to another? Tell us your run. Did you have to run left or right to get from that point to the other? And then put it together as a fraction. I'm going to show you really quickly how you can type this in. These are text box, so you are going to have to type it in. If you use your pencil and write in your rise and then your run, it won't self-grade. So I recommend actually clicking on it and typing it. But when you're writing that fraction for your rise over run, just use that slash, this one here, as your fraction. So I don't know, let's say you're saying your slope is, I went up 2 and I ran 3, so my slope is 2 over 3. If that is your slope, it should look like this. Is that the correct slope here? No, that's not the correct slope, but I'm just giving you an example. That's what it should look like if you have a fraction. Remember, if you're doing something like 2 divided by 1, then you want to simplify that and just ask yourself, what is 2 divided by 1? That's just 2. So sometimes it'll just be a whole number. Okay, don't forget, you actually have to go in here, find some points that you can use for your rise, for your slope. And then if you do happen to finish early with this, give us your reflection. What is a new math word that you learned today? If you're not sure, then I recommend going back to the first page and taking a look at what words did we find here? What words did we look through? If you've already heard of slope in the past and it's not necessarily a new word for you, then think of this question as asking you, what is the word of the day? Yes, very good. Yes, down and left is negative. Very good. Good question. So give us a new strategy you learned today. What was the strategy that we talked about that will help you get to the correct answer? And if you have any questions left, go ahead and ask us those questions here. We'll try to come back and answer any of those. All right, I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes. I'm gonna put 3 minutes on my timer here. 3 minutes to work on question 1, 2, and 3. And if you finish early, you can do your reflection. And as soon as we're done with this, we'll review your homework. All right, go ahead, you guys. We can also see on the Classkick side, if you have any questions, let us know in the chat. We'll try to help out as much as we can. I would recommend zooming in so you can actually see those perfect corners on the lines. I'm gonna pick a couple for you guys here. That should help out. All right, 2 minutes left, 2 minutes left. I have to sneeze. In the boxes, you would have to write your answers. So I'm going to show you guys really quickly. Number 1, I'm going to pick these 2 points. If I rise up, that's a +1. So I would go in here and write the 1. Positives don't need to include the positive symbol. That's just a regular number. So that's a 1. Then you can also check your run. I am running to the right, which means that's a positive. And how many units did I run to the right? 1. So I would write 1 here. So technically my slope is rise over run, but 1 divided by 1, that's just the 1. So you would type in 1. So here's another thing. If you're not quite sure about your division, if you're not quite sure about simplifying fractions, this isn't a section where we're checking if you're good at division or if you're good at multiplying. That's not what we're checking. We want to know if you can find the rise and if you can find the run. So if you're having a hard time with the division, use a calculator. We're not going to get mad if you use a calculator. We're not trying to check if you know how to divide. We just want to make sure you can find the rise and the run correctly and write it as a fraction for your slope. So use a calculator. And if that calculator has the negatives and positives, if you can change a number to a negative, that's even better, because then you won't make any mistakes with your symbols either. Okay, you guys have 1 more minute. But you guys are doing fantastic. Good, good, good. So actually, I already gave you number 1. You can check on that one there. 1 over 1 is just 1.
I'm giving stickers out.
Stickers. Digital stickers.
If we were in class, I would be giving so many stickers. I am sticker obsessed. Like, I love stickers.
If you're using the technique down here of going backwards, like I did in that other example, that's totally fine. If it doesn't count it as red, as green, but you know you checked your rise. So here I'm rising up 2, so that's a +2, and I'm going 1 to the left, so that's a -1. If you're typing in a +2 and a -1 and it doesn't recognize it as correct, or if you did the other way from left to right, which in this case would be down 2 and over 1 to the right, +1. And if it doesn't count it correct, that is okay. We're really looking to see if you did come up with that correct slope at the end. So let's say I end up putting -2 because I did go down 2 and then I went over 1. If it's not counting as correct, you are correct. These are still correct answers. Notice we still get a -2 and that's our correct slope. -2 divided by +1 is -2. If you decided to go backwards and you got the +2 and a -1, that is still correct. So both answers here are correct. We're really focused on this slope down here. All right, so I have already, helped you out with 2 of them. There's really 1 more left on your own down here, and then your reflection. Make sure you get that done. But we are going to go ahead and move on. Again, this is your turn, which is the time for you to practice on your own, but these should be the correct answers for 1 and 2. Check how you did. Are you doing good? Give us a 5 if you feel like you're getting this concept. Give us a 4, 3 if you're a little unsure. A 1 if you still find it really confusing. That also gives us some feedback. But don't worry, we're still going to keep practicing this over and over again. All right, if you're completely done with all of your notebook, yes, you can submit it at this point. We won't be having any more notes on today's Thursday. We won't be taking any more notes on this notebook tomorrow. We'll have some other activities. So our notebook is done for the week. That means you get to turn it in. If you've completed all of these pages with us, you're done. You get your 100 points. Awesome. And most of you already have all of your pages completed. So good job, you guys. All right, take a screenshot of that. I am going to be going back into your Google Classroom and giving you the link to today's homework assignment, one of today's homework assignment. And really, it's just more practice with what we just did. So there is the link to your homework assignment. I am going to go ahead and open it up from Google Classroom, again, just to model for you guys how to get to the right assignment. If you're in Google Classroom, go to classwork, look for today's homework assignment, which is homework assignment number 3 right here, finding slope from a graph. If you click on that link I gave you in the chat or on the link here in Google Classroom, it takes you to Google Slides. All right, give me a thumbs up if you are able to see your homework assignment, this one here. Give me a clap if you need more time to get there. All right, good, good, good. Those thumbs up keep coming in like a wave. It's like our digital wave. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I wonder if we see their placement here in the squares, is that the exact same placement they see them in?
If they have it like that, I think so.
I just wonder how it looks for them. All right, here we go. So in your homework, I like that they gave you a little page here in the front with a couple more directions just to help you guys out. But you're finding slope from a graph, just like we did in our notes. You're looking for your rise over run, so you're going to pick 2 points. All of these graphs that you see on slide 2 and slide 3 have given you 2 points already. But I want you to notice that they're points that are pretty far apart from each other. Since they're far apart from each other, you're going to have to simplify these fractions in some cases, not in all, but in some you will. So let's go through this example really quickly. There we go. So when you look at this graph, first find your rise. Do I go up or do I go down to go from one point to another? Here, they're going up. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units up. So our rise is 8. From there, we run to the right 6 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. So your rise is 8, your run is 6. That is a fraction that we can still simplify to 4/3 if we divide both top and bottom by 2. Again, if you're not a fan of simplifying like me, then I would have picked points that were closer to each other, and you can still do that. If you go to shape, select a circle, and see if you can find a point that is actually closer, a perfect corner, which is here. Do you have to do this? No. I'm just giving you more pointers on how to simplify things for you. So now when I look at these 2 points, these are closer to each other, and I can still count my rise and then my run. Rising up means positive, 1, 2, 3, 4, positive 4. Running to the right is positive 3, so, sorry, it's positive, so 1, 2, 3, positive 3. I did not have to simplify a fraction there because I picked 2 points that were closer to each other. So it's up to you. Use the points that they are giving you. Do you always have to simplify? Not all the time, but you have to look at your fraction to determine that. All right, so they're giving you directions here. Remember, if you get stuck, you can always go back and look at that, but we're gonna take a look at an actual example on slide 2. I'm going to take a look at question number 1. Notice these graphs are all have a color with it. So graph number 1 is this little baby blue. To write the answer for the slope, I'm going to write it inside of this square. Well, we're actually not writing. I take that back. We're not writing it. We're picking our slope from down here and dragging it to the correct spot. So one thing we really haven't touched on that much is the M. We always use the letter M for our slope. So when you see M equals -1/2, we're saying the slope is -1/2 or 1/2. Okay, let me zoom in to question number 1. Here is question number 1. I have 2 points, and you have to ask yourself, how much do I have to go up or down to get to 1 point from one point to another? Again, I'm going from left to right, so I'm going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't have anywhere to write it on here, so I can click on that text box and I can just type, okay, my rise is 6. What is my run? So I put the slash. So I went up 6, and then I went 1, 2, 3 to the right. So that is 6/3. Now, looking at those 2 numbers, I know I can simplify 6 and 3, but also that big numbers on top, so I can just go 6 divided by 3 equals 2. So our slope here is 2. What you want to do is go down to your options here and find wherever you see a slope of 2, here it is, and drag it to that blue square. So why did I drag it to that square? Again, because it's blue, which means that is the answer for my blue graph here. If you picked a point that was closer again, you wouldn't have had to simplify that much. You would just pick another point there. And yeah, let me go back. It could be a little harder to tell on this one, but you want to think of your rise. So if I'm going from this point to this point, I need to ask myself, do I go up or down to get from the first point to the second point? I'm just going to show you with an actual arrow. I need to go up. And since I'm going up, I want to make sure that's a positive number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was too far. There we go. So that would be a positive 6. So give me a thumbs up if you're okay with that part. I had a couple students ask if I could repeat this one. Okay, good. All right. So now that you're here, that you went up 6, you need to ask yourself, do I go right or left to get to the second point? I need to go to the right. So I can add another arrow here to help me out. You want to ask yourself, how many units did I go to the right? And that would be 3. And it's a positive 3 because we're going to the right. So that gets us our rise of 6 and a run of 3. But when you look at that fraction, 1, there's the bigger numbers on top. This is an improper. No, you just have to put the answer. Good question. Only put in the answer here. You do not have to do the arrows or these steps. I'm going a little slower because I had a couple students ask me. So this just equals 2 when you have 6 divided by 3. Okay, I got you guys responding to me saying, okay, I get it. So do that for all of these. You do not have to show the arrows, okay? All you have to do is find that answer. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on. You're doing that for questions 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and the same on slide 3. So we're moving on to your other assignment, which your other assignment needs a little bit more of an explanation, but it's actually not too difficult since we've already laid out the steps to help you out. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close that. I'm going back into Google Classroom. Can you guys hear me? Okay, first I got a little notification here in my ear. I think the battery might be running low. All right, thank you guys. So I'm going back into your Google Classroom and I'm looking at your homework assignment number 4 where it says slope setup. I'm going to copy that link, give it to all of you here. There we go. Okay, in the chat, you can go ahead and click on that link. It will take you to your second homework assignment. If you're in Google Classroom, you want to go down to where it says homework number 4, slope setup, click on that, and it'll take you right into Classkick again, log in. If not, use the same name over and over again. And I don't know about you, but this is your homework and I'm sure you don't want to repeat it. So make sure you log in with the exact same name or actually go in here and log in. All right. So give me a thumbs up if you are able to see your slope setup. If you are already on Classkick, give me a clap if you need more time to get to that correct assignment. Thank you guys. Oh, some of you have already started on it. Oh, wow. Guys are so ahead.
Yeah, there's a couple that got started. It was just that they were going to be so picky with that middle part that they didn't know what we were doing in that part. Okay. But I mean, I love the initiative, especially in this class.
Yeah.
Like this class in 3rd period, like there's a couple of you guys who are like, I'm just going to rock this through. And amazing job, guys.
Yeah, good job. Okay, I'm going to walk you guys through this slope setup, making sure that you're getting these pieces correct. We're actually using our slope in a different way this time. Instead of giving you a graph and asking you to find the slope, we're giving you a point and asking you to use the slope we're giving you as well to actually complete the line. So notice we only have 1 point. This slope gives us directions to plot another point. So think of us being at your house and we're using this slope, these directions to get to Starbucks. But since I'm actually getting hungry, let's say we're going to In-N-Out. I need a burger. I need something really heavy today.
A burger
All
sounds
right.
good.
Yeah. Okay, so on this first section here, we give you the slope. M equals 2. We're just saying the slope is 2. On the next section here, we're asking you, do we need to change or keep that slope the way it's already written? There are some instances where we are going to want to rewrite our slope because we want to get that rise and the run. We want to get those directions. Then we're going to circle, okay, if we look at the signs of our slope, does that mean it's telling us to go up or to go down? You're going to pick the directions. So if we look at the first slope here, M equals 2. Remember, it's helpful if we have our rise and if we have a run. When we look at the slope they're giving us, right now, we only have a rise. So right now, we're going to have to change this slope. Why are we changing it? Because it's just a whole number. Whenever you have a whole number, we want to turn it into a fraction. So how do we do that? Well, we keep that 2 and we put a 1 under it. So when you have a whole number, all you do is put a 1 underneath it, and that turns it into a fraction. So let's say I give you the number 3. If you want to turn it into a fraction, you put a 1 under it, 3 over 1. If I give you the number 4, you want to turn that into a fraction, you just say, oh, 4 over 1, put a 1 underneath it. So that gave us a rise and a run now when we took that 2 and put a 1 under it. Now pay attention to both of these numbers. None of these numbers should have a negative because this original number did not have a negative. So both of these are positives. So on the direction side, you want to rewrite that, but using their symbols. A 2 here is positive. Ask yourself, does that mean I go up or does that mean I go down? Give me a thumbs up if a positive 2 is telling us to go up. Give me a clap if this positive 2 is telling us to go down. What do you guys think? Yes, good job. Positive means we're going up, so circle up. Now let's look at our run. This 1 does not have a negative symbol next to it, so it's just a positive 1. So ask yourself, for the running, is positive telling us to go to the left or to the right? So give me a thumbs up if positive means we're going right. Give me a clap if positive means we're going left. So thumbs up for right, clap for left. What do you guys think? Yes, we are going to the right. So I'll write these here again for those of you that might be struggling. Positive means up, negative means down. That's for your rise. For your run, write it here. A positive means we're going to the right. A negative means we're going to the left. These are all directions that are going to help us finish this graph. So now that we have our directions, let's get to the graph section here and let's finish the graph. So here's my point. Think of your house. You want to get to Starbucks. If you want to get to Starbucks, you have to go up 2. So I am going in here and actually drawing up to 1, 2. From there, we said we have to go 1 space to the right. So you're going 1 space to the right. That gets us our second point right here. Again, every single step here helps you get the correct directions. Positive 2 means we go up. So I went up 2 and I went 1 to the right. And you can actually go in there and connect these points, and that gives you an actual line. So how do you connect them? Go to the add line option, click on it, drag it on there. So let me do that again. Add line. I can go in here, just connect them like that, but this line can actually stretch even further out. You can change the color of your line by picking line color and pick any color. It's not very important. So give me a thumbs up if you're okay with that. I'm still gonna go through one more example for you guys. I wanna see how it would be, I want you to see how it would be done when we have that negative there. Give me a clap if this was a little confusing for you. No problem with that. We're still gonna practice it. Okay, no problem. We'll practice it one more time. Okay. Let's start with our slope. Take a good look at your slope. We have -5/4. In this example here, we do have a fraction where we have a rise and we have a run. So we can keep this slope. So give me a thumbs up if you're okay with that step. I am keeping it because I have a rise and I have a run. Okay. So now all you have to do is go in there, write the number that's on top. The 5 is our rise. The 4 is our run. But we have to be careful here. Notice this negative symbol here in the very front. It's telling us we need a negative slope. If we need a negative slope, all you have to do is give that negative to one of the numbers, either the top one or the bottom, only one of them. We only have one negative there, which means only one number should be negative. I'm going to go ahead and write that negative for the -5 there. Give me a thumbs up if you're okay with that step. Give me a clap if I lost you there. Okay. So now, most likely the directions might be the part where it gives some students a hard time, but use what we talked about here. Up if we have a positive number, down if we have a negative number, right if we have a positive number, left if we have a negative number for your rise or your run. Let's write our directions. A -5. Thumbs up if that's up, clap if it's down. The -5. And I'll show you right up here again. Up means positive, down means negative. Okay, good. So a lot of you started showing me claps. This is down, so circle down. So that already tells us when I'm looking at this point, I know I have to go down. And how many? 5 steps. But we'll get there in a bit. All right, the next number, our run, is a +4. So again, give me a thumbs up if this is going to the right. Give me a clap if this should go take us to the left. And I'll keep this up here for you guys. Thumbs up right, clap left. Good job. Yeah, perfect. This is right. Since we have a positive number, we're going to the right. Okay, so I seem to have you guys okay up to here in the directions. We just need to go in there and graph this. I'm going to zoom in just to make sure you guys can see how I graph this. Here's your point. Think of this being your house. Our directions take us to Starbucks or In-N-Out or your favorite place, your favorite restaurant. Our directions say to go 5 down. So I'll go 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So give me a thumbs up if you're good up to there. I'm just going down 5, following the directions here. Give me a clap if I lost you there. We're almost done. All right. Last one. We said 4 to the right, so we go 4 right. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the end of our directions. That is where you should have your second point, right there. We used our rise and we used our run, and all you would have to do is connect them if you have to, if you want to. We're not really looking for you to connect them yet, but that will be the point eventually. So I would just get in the practice of doing that. And that's it. That's what you're doing for all of these here. Following your directions, ask yourself if you need to change it where you have a fraction, circle your directions, and then use your directions to actually plot them there. So I'll go ahead and zoom out, let you guys take a quick screenshot of these two here. Actually, I'll zoom out more so you see the top.
And then guys, that's it for class. Just do your exit ticket. Again, that exit ticket is just you guys marking it as done and saying like, I understand, or if you have a question, write out your question. But you guys did an amazing job. So thank you very much. Bye guys.
Bye.